Hi guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to cover the taxi to takeoff portions of the flight in the TBM930. Okay, so after starting your engines, you want to make sure your nav light is already on. If it isn't, come over here to the top and we're going to switch on the autopilot and trim switch so that will work in flight. Then we're going to come down here and turn your inertial separator on. And if you haven't already, insert your flight plan and then come over here and set takeoff flaps. After doing that, what you need to do is prop yourself up, prop the seat up a couple of inches so that you have a good view over the glacier, because in the default view you can't really see well and you need to set a higher seat position in order to obtain better attitude. Okay, so just a couple of inches up. I like to see just a tiny bit of the cowling in front. Okay, we'll be taking off from runway 26. So what I like to do is set the course indicator to 260. That will give me a good idea, a good orientation of where I am to the runway. And then if you want, you can set your heading to either your initial leg or the runway heading, whichever is fine. Okay, then we'll set our initial altitude. So for this example, I'm just going to go to 1,000 feet. And then what you can do is you can set some of the things up for the autopilot, like your VS speeds and stuff like that, so that will ease your workload as you're flying. Now if you're IFR, come down here, turn your stall heat and pitot heat on. Okay, then you come back up here and set the autopilot in VS mode. So I like to set it at about 1500 feet per minute. Okay, and then what you can do is you can set it to heading if you want to. So once you're in the air and once you're at a safe altitude, all you need to do is just hit the autopilot button and then the aircraft will be on its way. Alright, come down here and set the bleed. Okay, cool. What I also like to do is set up the radios. So you come over here, click on navcom. You can key in your squawk code here if you need to. So for example, I'm just going to go 333, make sure it's on altitude reporting so that it's in mode Charlie. And then if you want, set up your standby frequency in COM2 if you need. Okay, if not, we can go back to MFT and click on flight plan, and then if you have a flight plan, it would show here. Alright, once all that's done, you are ready to taxi. So let's hop over to the TBM930 AFM and look at the airspeeds for normal operation. So rotation airspeed for takeoff flap is 90 knots, so we'll be looking for that when we are on our takeoff roll. Once we are airborne, we'll then look to pitch for 100 knots and then 125 knots for the climb out. Okay, cool. Alright, now the checklist within the game is not too bad. So what we'll do is we'll go through the after start checklist. So the throttle is on flight idle, that's check. Oil temperatures are in the green and that's good. Auxiliary boost pumps on auto, fuel selectors on auto. The shift test buttons over here, if you want to push on it, that will slide the fuel selector from left to right. Autopilot and trim switch, make sure that's on. Generator is on main, that's set, and the bleed is on auto. Okay, before taxi, initial separator on, flight controls, so full left, full right, full forward, full down. Okay, we already set the flaps for takeoff, so we'll skip that. The throttle, if you want to do a feather check, that's a bit buggy in the sim, but all you need to do is slide the throttle to the right to go full feather. Okay, if you notice that ITT is actually rising quite a bit, it's not supposed to happen, but that's how you do a feather check. Taxi lights on, and then the parking brake. release, and off we go. Now it does take a little bit of power just to get going. Usually doesn't take a lot. There we go. Alright. Now during the taxi, you can think of certain things to do. It's a bit too high, there we go. If you want to be more efficient, you can do the before takeoff checklist while on the roll. But in this example, I'm just going to do it holding shoulder on me just to show you. Okay, so that's our runway right there. Back down to idle, tap on the brake gently. Okay, alright, set the parking brake. Alright, so flaps is set, the radios are set, squawk code's all in there, oil pressures, temperatures are good. Switches, landing lights on, strobe lights on, turn the cabin lights on if you need to, and the trim is over here. So ideally you want to trim up till the silhouette pack is in the green. So that's your takeoff trim set, and then you can come up here to the top and do the takeoff checklist. So the before lineup checklist we've already done. Okay, cool. So what we're going to be doing is looking for that 90 knots. That's when we'll rotate. Now you've got to apply a little bit of forward pressure so that nose doesn't come up, and then we'll pitch for 10 degrees. Okay, so parking brake is off, finals clear. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to utilize as much of the runway as I can. Right, we'll line up on center line. Okay, QNH is set. Alright, no warnings. Set takeoff power. So I'm looking for is about 90%. That should suffice. A little bit of forward pressure on the stick, slight crosswind from the left. So just look towards the end of the runway. The nose is starting to come up gently. It's 90 knots. Release the back pressure, and away we go. All right, coming out of runway. Positive rate, gear up. Pitch for that 10 degrees. Right, apply some trim if you need to. Alright, 500 feet, flaps up. And then put one. Okay, cool. So we'll just turn to our initial heading. And there you have it. That's the takeoff. Thank you, and I hope that helps.